Welcome to this week's edition of SKNS Week in Review, where we recap all major government release activities for the past week. I am your presenter, Rahim Berry. Highlights for the week of March 10 to March 17 includes Minister Byron Nisbet salutes women for their contribution to nation building. The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis officially launched its 2021 Population and Housing Census. The Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, Minister of Health et al., publicly saluted hard-working and pioneering women in St. Kitts and Nevis who have contributed to nation building. She echoed her pleasure to see women in the Federation excelling by leaps and bounds.
While we recognize the women in leadership across the world on International Women's Day, we must also remember the women in our own communities that are achieving an equal future here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Women who are taking bold steps in reshaping their own lives, their own communities. Women who are reshaping what we consider to be the ideal career paths and who are willing to speak their truth while doing this.
The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis officially launched its 2021 Population and Housing Census during a significant ceremony held at the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, conference room on Thursday, March 17, 2022.
This activity is a very important undertaking for the ministry as we strive to fulfill our objectives of, in part, providing the necessary information for economic growth and improved standard of living in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Permanent Secretary Simpson Brown said that the last census was conducted in 2011 and indicated that St. Kitts and Nevis had a population of 47,195. This data, she said, is outdated and dangerous in relation to making major, meaningful policy, planning and decision-making. For this year's International Women's Day, which was celebrated on March 8th, countries around the world were encouraged to promote the campaign theme, Break the Bias, a theme the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, Minister of Health, challenged women in St. Kitts and Nevis to continue. Minister Byron Nisbet said that the 2022 International Women's Day campaign theme, Break the Bias, highlighted three main areas.
I'm calling on all of my women folk in St. Kitts and Nevis, so let us focus on what that team really means, and let us be the ones to ensure that we do break the biases, that we do our part. Let us be the ones making sure that we do not continue the stereotypes. Let us be the ones to be pushing and agitating for diversity and inclusiveness. Let us be the ones celebrating women and celebrating the difference and values that they bring.
A board member of St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber on Industry and Commerce has challenged companies in the Federation and across the Caribbean to embrace two key recommendations of the United Kingdom's Hampton-Alexander Review. On March 15 edition of the Leadership Matters, Natalie John, Executive Chief Officer of the Dreamy Group of Companies and SKNCIC board member, cited the review and called for increase in opportunities for women. The Hampton-Alexander Review was launched in February 16 and focused on increasing female representation in leading companies in the UK, as well as boosting the number of women in senior executive positions.
I would like to challenge us all in St. Kitts and Nevis, as well as the wider Caribbean region, to adopt a similar approach as that of the UK government in the Hampton-Alexander Review, by proposing standards whereby at least 1/3 of all board positions be designated for women, along with the same percentage, 1/3, for executive leadership positions within 5 years.
Enumerators and supervisors representing the Department of Statistics will be moving across St. Kitts and Nevis in the coming weeks as they carry out surveys for the National Population and Housing Census 2021. This year, the theme will be armed with electronic devices to improve efficiency while in the field. At the launch of the Census 2021 initiative on Thursday, March 17, 2022, Carlton Phipps, Director of Statistics, said that the tablets will be employed for the first time during the statistics collection exercises.
This advancement in the use of technology will enable us to be more accurate in our data collection, greater efficiency in the tracking of the level of progress, and the more timely generation of the census results.
A 30-member delegation headed by Minister of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable John L. Powell, left St. Kitts and Nevis on Monday, March 14 to participate in the Expo 2020 being held by Dubai, United Arab Emirates. While in Dubai, the delegation will be kept busy with activities that will immerse them in the rich history and culture of the UAE. They will also be exposed to experiences that showcase dishes, entertainment, technology, arts and culture, and much more from 192 countries at the Country Pavilion section of the Expo. International Women's Day 2022 was celebrated globally on March 8, 2022. In the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, women's leaders were honored for their invaluable service in various areas of socio-economic life. During the March 15, 2022 edition of Leadership Matters, Minister of Social Development and Gender Affairs, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, highlighted the progress made in pursuit of gender equality. Locally, the impacts of the COVID-19 have made women even more vulnerable. The Minister of Social Development and Gender Affairs has partnered with the Embassy of the Republic of China and Taiwan to develop a number of training programs for women, creating opportunities for entrepreneurship.
1 week ago today, Tuesday, March 8th, St. Kitts and Nevis joined with the international community to celebrate International Women's Day. As Minister of Gender Affairs, I greeted all women on that date under the theme, Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. Of course, there was a sub-theme, #Break the Bias. The theme which I used last Tuesday, Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, needs to be explained a bit, because Sustainable Development Goal number 5 declares that gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous and sustainable world. Gender equality refers to responsibilities and opportunities of males and females, irrespective of their sex. Our national statistics indicate that more than 50% of all households are headed by single mothers. This group faces multiple and interesting forms of discrimination and greater vulnerability, particularly the most socially and economically oppressed, including women living with disabilities.
And this concludes this week's edition of SKNS Week in Review. See you next week.